Hello, this video will review how to do some basic edits to the Gordon State College webpage using Cascade. You first want to navigate to this link and log in with your Gordon email username and password. Now, if for some reason you get an error and you cannot log in and you know that your password is valid, it may be that you don't have a Cascade account. So in that case, you would just want to put in a help star ticket and ask to have a Cascade account created, as well as tell them what departments or what web pages you'll need access to edit. Because Cascade does work on permissions, so you have to have a permission to even log into Cascade to make any edits, and then basically per department or per page, we're able to give you editing privileges. So you won't be able to edit any page on the web page, or any web page on the website. You would specifically have certain access. So also, if that changes later on, you can just put in a ticket and say, hey, I additionally need the ability to edit these pages, and that can be granted. So upon logging in, you'll see this dashboard. So to get to the area where you want to edit the current Gordon State site, you're going to scroll down, and under My Sites, you'll see this GSC website. So that's where we're going to click. And now keep in mind that you're not going to see probably nearly as much as what we see here. I have access to edit all of the pages via all the departments on the web page. You're probably only going to have a couple of them. So the first thing you want to do is kind of understand the structure here. So these are going to be the folders for the departments. And then when you click in those, you're actually going to see even subfolders from there. And then within those, you'll actually see web pages. So these are the actual pages themselves, this icon, and then these are actual images that are on those web pages. So you can see it's kind of organized pretty deep into folders. Something that can be overwhelming when trying to edit a page, if you have a lot of pages on the website, is knowing where to find that particular page, especially if you're, kind of like in this case, this group has a lot of different subfolders. So there is an easy way to try to find that page that you're trying to edit. So if you open a new tab and you go to the Gordon State web page without being in the editor, then you want to find the page that you want to edit. So for example here, if I look in this URL, I'm able to see that I'm on the Gordon State webpage in the Departments folder, in the Computer Services folder, in the Brightspace by D2L folder, and then so on and so forth. So following this hyperlink, the different tabs here will help you find that page in the editor. So then that let me know that I first need to find the Departments folder, so I'll find that. And then in the Departments folder, I need to find Computer Services. So I'll find that. But in this case, the link actually still says Computer Services when it's really now Information Technology, so that is a little blip there, but something that you could probably make a leap of logic on. And then now we're going to go to Brightspace by D2L. So then I'm going to find Brightspace by D2L. These should be alphabetized. So Brightspace by D2L, and then specifically Brightspace by D2L Instructor Resources. So I would kind of, if I can kind of hover over these, it'll tell me which ones. You see there's a lot of folders and folders. So now that I found that folder, we're looking at the Brightspace by D2L Instructor Resources quizzes, and we see that this particular web page is named the Brightspace by D2L Instructor Resources quizzes. So inside of there, there's the web page here. So this is the page that I'm actually going to be doing edits on. So I click into that and I'm able to confirm. It'll actually show me the page here. So I'm able to confirm that in Cascade Editor, this is the page that I'm wanting to edit. And then I can confirm by checking here to make sure that is the right one. So then I just choose Edit up here at the top. And then I have some different blocks that I can work with. And honestly, for the most part, if you're just making minor edits, you're not going to be filling in all of these different areas. The call out header is just going to be this main piece right here at the top, this main header here. So you can change that if you want to. You can also add a header call out. And if you do that, that's just a little piece that jumps out in the middle of the page. So I'll just kind of add one right here that kind of says sample header. And you can have it maybe linked to another page. So sometimes like at the top here, you might say, depending on the department, click here to apply to Gordon State or something like that. So you might have like a sample header and then click here to apply, and then you might have a URL that you want to put in place there. And then here I could either pick the URL or put in an external URL. So I'll show you what that looks like. In most cases, you may not use this call out header. You'll probably just be putting in the headline there. Then this is where you go to edit the main content under this block, and you'll see that it looks very similar to the content on the page. And so a lot of this you may just be changing text, taking certain text off or putting in new hyperlinks, that kind of thing. You see this editor looks very much like Microsoft Word. It's pretty easy to use. I'll edit a couple things down here at the bottom. So you can highlight your text and make things into bulleted points or numbers if you want to. Also, you can make use of the headers here. This is great for accessibility. So instead of making headers just bold text or just changing the size, if you use one of these heading schemes, this is really helpful. So your biggest header would start with header 2, and then your subheader and your subheader and your subheader. So if I click on these, sometimes it'll tell me what header it is. But for the most part, you might start at like a header 3 or something like that. And that helps students when they're using a screen reader to be able to, it'll pick up on the headers and help them understand the importance. Other than changing the text, something you may want to do is maybe exchange out a web link or put a new web link in. So if something already has a web link, it'll be highlighted like this. And so you can just choose this button, and then you'll see where the link is coming from. So you can either choose to change that or update it if you want to. In this case, say that I want to change this to another web link. It needs to go somewhere else that is also a Gordon State College web page. So notice that it is linking to another web page at Gordon, and it says internal. That means it's linking to another page on the Gordon State College website. It would be an external if it was linking to something outside of the Gordon State College website, say, a USG site or a Campus 411, any other site that is not directly a Gordon State College webpage. In this case, if I want to replace an internal one, I would just choose a file or page to link to, and then it's going to show me the recent ones that I've worked on. So usually, in most cases, it may be in your list here. If not, you can browse for it. You can just kind of search on the GSC webpage. You can search what you think the title of the page may be. So, for example, if I search Brightspace, it will show me all the web pages that have the word Brightspace in the title, and then I can just pick to that one, choose it, and then that will link, create or fix the link. If it's an external link, I would just basically copy or paste in the web address to the external site that needs to go in. For creating a new web link, you'll do something very similar. You'll just type in the text that needs to be created into a link, and then you'll just highlight it, choose this button, insert or edit a link, and then you would do the same thing, especially if it's an internal file. You'll choose, and then you can browse the site and look for something there. If you're not even familiar of what the title could be, you could look under departments, and then maybe I know that it is a human resources web page, and then it would show me all the human resources web page, and maybe I know it's specifically this one. So you can kind of filter through, and keep in mind you won't have access to all of these, so it may make it easier for you to find your web page. So once you choose OK, you'll see that it'll turn blue, and you have created your link. The next thing is uploading an image, and in a lot of cases, people are restricted from uploading their own images. It has to be approved, so you may have to send an email to the IT department and have them actually upload your image for you, and then you can just link it into the web page that you want to, because it does kind of have to go through an approval process. But say that either you're going to upload it or it's already been approved, you would find where you want that to go on your web page. You'll choose this icon, and then again, this would be an internal file because this would be something that has been uploaded into the Cascade server. So we'll choose that file, and if you have the ability to upload your own file, you'll choose upload and then choose it from your computer. And then I can rename it. It's best just to name it very descriptive of what it is, and then you can put it in whatever placement folder that it needs to go in. So maybe in the specific folder that you're working on. So in this case, I might put it in. Then from that, you would just choose the file. And then you want to make sure to give a good image description here. It will come over with the name. Just make sure that you do have a good image description, because that's going to be the alternative text on the file. So for those that are using a screen reader, it'll say this is an image of time management or whatnot. So make sure that it is pretty descriptive. Then it will insert it in. You can size it down as needed. So next I'll kind of show you what one looks like if I'm just pulling it in from one that's already been created rather than uploading my own. So I would just do the insert image again, internal, choose the file. Instead of uploading though, I would be trying to find one. So these are the ones that I've recently uploaded, or again, I can browse for it. I can search for it if I know what it might be named, or I can look through the different folders here if maybe I know one's been uploaded in the information technology department. Normally if IT uploads one for you and puts it in a folder, they'll tell you what folder it is, and you'll be able to go in there and find the image. If you're looking for just a general image that's already been approved, you don't have a specific preference as to a specific one, you can go to the GSC website folder, and then under the beginning of it, there'll be some with little underlines here. If you choose Files, and then choose images, you'll see a listing of a lot of different images that have been uploaded that you can kind of choose and see what they look like, and just kind of use one that's already been created to insert in. Remember that you always want to give a good image description, something like students sitting in a classroom, to give an overview for the screen readers. So now we're going to talk about uploading files or connecting files to the web page. So in that case, you'll typically have some text typed and you just want to link the document there. So very similar to how we did with the web link, we're going to highlight whatever text we want to be linked, and then we're going to choose Insert Link. And then we're actually, instead of putting in a web page, we're going to pick a file. So this is the exact same process that we went through earlier with the web link. You're just doing it with a file. So if it's an internal file that we've already uploaded, I'll choose the file, and then I'll be able to look through all the different files that are available to me, and I'll just pick whichever file there is. Or I can browse it and find different ones depending on what department that they're in. Now say that I haven't uploaded the file yet. The file hasn't been uploaded into Cascade yet. I can do so right here under Upload. I would want to pick what folder it needs to go in to kind of keep it organized. So if I'm working in the departments folder or in the academic affairs folder, whatnot, I would want to find the correct folder of where to upload my file, and then I would just choose it and upload it from there, and link it. In most cases, we prefer that the files be PDF files to be uploaded to the web page. So we see that I have this file being uploaded to the web page, and it's going in the academic affairs folder, in specifically the CETL folder. And so just pay careful attention when you're uploading things that you're uploading them into the right folder, so it'll make it a lot easier for you to find it later on. So now we have this internal document being loaded, and I'll just choose OK, and now the link is there. So those are the main headings that you'll want to do, or the main edits you'll want to do is just edit the text itself, edit the web links, maybe insert picture, or link in documents. So the next thing you want to do is preview the draft. And that's going to allow you to see in Cascade, just from editing, what the draft is going to look like. So you can see where this call out header appeared, and if I click on this, it takes me to the Gordon website like I put in earlier. We see that we have the main header here, and then we see the different little edits that I've made around here, linking to my documents, my images, that kind of thing. So then next, I want to submit these changes, and I want to check content and submit. It's going to tell me if I have any spelling errors or anything like that, so you just want to make sure that these are indeed not spelling errors. These are names of certain programs, so they're not actual spelling errors. So I'm going to finish that up, And then lastly, I'm going to choose publish. It isn't till you go through all those save buttons and choose publish does it actually take effect on the Gordon State webpage. So you can save it and then maybe work on it later. Maybe if you're doing this over the series of a couple of days, you could just save it and then it wouldn't take effect on the actual live web page yet until you publish it. So just kind of keep that in mind. But again, it's not going to actually show up on the Gordon State webpage till you publish it. That is the last step. So saving and publishing are two different things, part of the same process, but the publish is the final option for pushing through and having it update on the web page. In most cases, if you wanted a brand new web page, not just editing one that's already created, most of the time IT is going to create the web page for you, and then they will tell you what folder it's in to where you can go and find it. It'll just be a blank page, and then you can just edit it and then start marking it up. In some cases where you have been given the ability to create your own pages, you can choose add content, and then you can choose the type of page you want, and in most cases you're going to want the folder with the standard page, and then you would want to pick what folder it's supposed to be organized into. So you would find whatever folder it needs to go in, like if I'm going to be making a page for information technology, it should go there, and then I would give it a title. Almost always, whatever you type in as the title, it's going to say it doesn't meet the requirements for the URL because the URL has to have lines in it. And it can't have spaces. Just say use suggested name and it will fix it for you. And so that will be the title of your URL, and then that will be the folder that it's going to be in, and then you can just give the page a title. So Teams in D2L. Now the title itself can actually have spaces in it. That'll be the title of the page. This is going to be the URL piece, and so you want to make sure that it has lines in that. And then really that's all the information you'll need to add here just to create the page would be the folder name, the placement folder, and the title. When you do that, it'll go ahead and create the page for you if you are allowed to create the page yourself. If not, IT will have done that for you. And then they'll tell you where to go and find that folder. So in this case, I had put it in the information technology folder, and I had put it in Teams in D2L, and now I have this nice little index page. What you see is the blank page. So now there's nothing in it. And now I can edit this page and do the exact same thing that I was doing earlier. You see this is the very similar look to it. I can have a call out header, which might be something similar to what I've named it. And then actually start typing in my content if I want to, linking in my documents, pulling in my images, and then linking in my web pages using this feature. And then again, you can always preview and draft it to see what it's going to look like, and then submit those changes. Check for the content, again, just making sure nothing's misspelled, bringing to light anything that you might have missed. And then keep in mind that this isn't going to take effect on the actual web page live until you choose publish, which I'm not going to do for this particular sample one, but publish will make it go live. And then you're able to go out to the web page and find that web page again and make sure that your edits were updated. There is one extra feature that you might be interested in, especially if you're going to be putting a lot of web links into place. So you can do an edit on the page, and the callout header and the main content is what you're using for the most part. But there is a quick links block here that you can put into place, and so I'll make a couple here and then show you what it looks like. So I would just pick an icon. Honestly, this doesn't matter, whichever one you like. And then you would give this block a header. So like in this case, I'm just going to call it extra resources. And here are some extra resources related to this area. And then now I can put in my list of links. So I'll choose this plus button. And then now I'm able to add in some different web links. So maybe I have Teams in D2L, and then I can either put in an internal link that we talked about earlier that links to a different Gordon State webpage, or it might be that I put in an external one where I actually physically, type in the address. Either external or external manual will work for that. And then I could add an additional one. So maybe I do Teams in Blackboard. and then do an external, and then paste, either type in the URL if it's something that is going to be outside of D2L or outside of Cascade, or just choose the internal file and pick it from there. And I can actually add as many as I want. I can keep coming and doing this plus icon. I believe it lets you add up to 10. So you can have these additional web links and you can reorder them. You see how it made this new one as number 2 instead of 3. I can move it up or down. And then I'll do this one to where I add in an additional, and it's linking to an external page. So I choose that, and just like we did earlier, either pick a page that I recently went to, or browse a page and find where we think it could go in the departments. If we think it's going to be under, a particular department of some kind, find where we think that's going to go, and then link it in that way. Then we can preview that, and you'll kind of see what this quick links look like. It's a nice way to add in additional web links all at the same time. So you'll see them, they're kind of like little blocks here, and you'll be able to click on those blocks and it would take you to whatever page we were looking at. So that might be an additional way to add in if you've got a lot of links to add rather than just listing them all at the end there. And again, just like we did earlier, you want to make sure to save the page and to publish the page for it to take effect. And that process is just the submit, check, check, and then actually do the publish. And that's the basics of editing most things on the Cascade server.